Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Escucha podcast. You're here with Megan
and Abby.
And today we're going to discuss Latinx representation in media and tackling whether physical representation in media is enough or whether cultural representation is needed as well.
Yes, a big trend that I've noticed is that I see more artists like Caliuchis and Omar Apollo being more open and expressive about their culture and heritage than big Latinx actors in Hollywood, which is something that I find very interesting considering actors in Hollywood are given a much larger platform.
No, I know. I was even looking, and I think Jenna Ortega has like tens of millions of followers. I want to say close to, I think it was like 40
million?
Yeah, on Instagram.
I don't follow her, so I didn't even know she had an Instagram, to be honest with you.
You didn't?
No, I follow Pedro Pascal.
Of course you do, because you love him.
Yes, I do.
Okay, yeah, Jenna Ortega has 38.4 million followers on Instagram, and just to compare, Caliuchis has 7.2. So that's what I mean when I, like, exactly like you said, like, they have a bigger platform. Quite literally, she has like almost 5 times the amount of followers as Caliuchis does.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I totally agree with what you said about, again, like them having a larger platform. I know Jenna Ortega has been in the media a lot recently, especially with her starring in the show Wednesday on Netflix and the new movie Beetlejuice that just came out. People are completely obsessed with her, and I love that.
Yeah.
I did read this article, though, that kind of it came to her defense when talking about her Latinidad.
Okay.
And
because I know she's American born, but she's, I believe, Puerto Rican and Mexican.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been questioning her Latin identity. Do you remember the clip of the interview where the girl said you are Latina enough?
Yeah, I think it was from Me Too or Pero Like, one of those Latino run social media accounts. But yeah, they went up to her and gave her a hug and everything, and she looked very grateful for that affirmation and that but you know what I mean.
Yeah. So that clip actually sparked this conversation about her and whether or not she is Latina enough. I really dislike the media criticizing her cultural identity because it doesn't follow a specific image. But overall, the article that I read was talking about how people don't view her as Latina enough because she's not fluent in Spanish and she wasn't born in a Latin American country.
Yeah, and that's something that we've covered in a previous issue, like just establishing your Latinidad. And it's way more than just speaking Spanish or not. And it also is way more than whether you were born in Latin America or not.
Exactly, because also you don't have any control over that.
Exactly. Like, I was born here, but I'm Latina. 100%.
Period, and say that. But I agree. I have seen that she's not as outspoken about her culture as other celebrities have been. I don't think she should be criticized for I'm quoting, not being Latina enough. But I mean, Abby, as a Latina yourself, do you personally feel that it is important for your culture to be represented in media, specifically Hollywood, more than it is now?
Yeah, I mean, it's important all the time. And I stand by my belief that you don't have to speak Spanish and you don't have to be fluent in your family's native tongue in order to be seen as Latina or not. That's not the issue here. Personally, when it comes to representation, is whether my culture is represented enough culturally and socially, I guess is how I would put it. Enough with the stereotypes of oh, we're gonna have a movie in Islos and it's gonna be about a gangster. I'm kind of sick of that trope, guys. I'm also every Hispanic movie that comes out is either about gangsters or Day of the Dead. And I feel like that's a very wide range of media to just be focused on those two topics, and that's not to say there aren't any movies based around Latina stories, but most commonly that is attracted by non-Hispanic people are those stories.
I agree, because I mean, even Disney with Cuco. Nope. Coco?
Cuco is an artist. He's actually from Islos and he's Mexican.
I've actually listened to him before. He's good.
Yeah.
But Coco, and I don't think Disney did this one, but it was The Book of Life.
The Book of Life was actually directed by Guillermo del Toro, and he is actually Mexican.
What did you think about that movie?
I love that movie.
I also love that movie.
The mariachi version of Creep.
10 out of 10.
Diego Luna really ate with that one. All I gotta say.
Okay.
But and then I also want to talk about like On My Block.
I'm gonna be so honest with you. I have not seen On My Block.
I can't watch it because I know it's cringe. But all my non-Latino friends have seen it. At least in high school, like all the non-Latinos are watching it, and they're like, "Oh, it's so good, it's so good." Blah 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 blah. And I would see like clips on Instagram or TikTok, and it's like, okay, like there's this one scene where some white guy dresses as a gangster and he draws a teardrop, and one of the gangsters in the show, his name is Spooky.
Oh, Spooky.
His name is Spooky, and he goes up to the guy, he licks his thumb and wipes off the teardrop, and he's like, "This right here," in an accent, mind you, "This right here, this is real."
It's always the teardrop and it's always a cholo.
Exactly. But I feel like as Latinos, we shouldn't be limited to just those two things. And also, most of that is centered around Chicano and Chicana culture, which is strictly Mexican American in SoCal.
Yeah.
Like cholos and cholas, that was established here.
Mm-hmm.
Dia de los Muertos, that's something that's exclusive to Mexico. Not to say that other cultures can't do it, like other Hispanic cultures can't do it or participate in it, but its origins come from Mexico. Mm-hmm. And there's a wide variety of cultures that we need to explore out there. Like, I think Encanto is a really good example of a movie that's set with Hispanic characters about culture that's not overdone.
Yeah. You make some really, really good points. Something I did want to talk further about was how Latinx artists, like singers, have been more expressive of their cultural backgrounds than others. I know we talk about him a lot, but I mean, you know, Bad Bunny has been one of the most popular Latinx artists and has also been really outspoken about his country of Puerto Rico and about his culture overall.
Yeah, and I know we've talked about him. This is probably like the third or fourth time we've talked about him on this podcast.
Benito, we love you.
But, like, he is the epitome of what representation and love for your culture can be.
Yeah, I agree.
I think in modern day, for sure. Because, like, he is so out and proud about Puerto Rico and being Puerto Rican. And granted, he is from there.
Yeah.
But we do see, like, the same love and affection towards culture from other artists that were born in America, like Caliuchis and Omar Apollo.
Yeah. So I agree with that statement because Caliuchis was born in Alexandria, Virginia, which is just south of Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
So she was, like, born here.
You know, a lot of Salvadorians are from D.C.
Really?
It's so random.
She's actually Colombian.
I know she's Colombian.
Yeah.
Maybe she's run into my people. I don't know.
Probably, if it's so close. But she spent the majority of her life in the United States, but also a good chunk of her childhood was traveling to Colombia because that's where her dad is from.
Oh, okay.
Many of you know her music is both in English and in Spanish. And I'm not just talking about like one song's in English, one song's in Spanish. Like sometimes like she sings in Spanglish, like a sentence will be in Spanish, a sentence will be in English.
Yeah.
And she has actually said before that singing in both languages feels as though she's representing both parts of her identity.
Wow.
And how only singing in one would not feel right to her.
Wow. And she has done so much stuff with like other artists as well. Like Juanes is a Colombian artist. He's really popular with Spanish rock. She did a song with him a long time ago when I first started listening to her. And I was like, whoa, like that's really cool. Like she's in touch with artists there, and Karol G too.
And Peso Pluma.
And Peso Pluma. Well, Peso Pluma is Mexican.
Well, I mean, yeah, but I mean, like, as in other, like, Latin artists, like, she does collab with quite a few of them.
But she also collabs with artists here, like Tyler, the Creator.
And Omar Apollo.
And Omar Apollo, by the way, we need the trio. We need the three of you guys.
And her man's, Don Toliver.
Oh, that's right. That's right. But I just think it's really beautiful that she has turned her cultural identity into an art form. And Omar Apollo has also been an artist that does that as well. Like, we both have seen his NPR Tiny Desk performance when he came out with a mariachi for Latinx Heritage Month to perform En El Olvido.
That was one of my, like, all-time favorite Tiny Desk performances was his. Like, I just think that it was so well done. I love him.
Yeah, he is so great. I remember I was introduced to him, like, before his first official album came out, I guess, before the Purple album. Yeah, before that album was...
You're a longtime fan.
Yeah.
Because I got introduced to him from the Purple album.
Oh.
Okay, but the album that En El Olvido is on is Ivory.
Oh, no. Opolino is the one that I'm talking about. So that's when I saw him rise to fame with that one. Like, I have some songs from Stereo and Friends, which is his 2018-2019 album that I would, like, listen to in passing. I didn't even know I was this long of a fan, but I guess I am. So Dos Uno Nueve is a song by Omar Apollo on his 2020 album that has a corrido type feel, which is very traditional, very folky in Mexico, whereas mariachi, it also, I would say, like, is very folky. It depends on who you talk to and where they're from. But what I love most about Omar Apollo is that he's taking these two very traditional Mexican forms of music and introducing them to his American audience and his R&B fans. Yes. Because he does, like, he's basically combining, like, genres together. And he's doing it so well.
He is.
I love you, Omar.
I love you, Omar. I'm so sorry I didn't get to come see you at the Hollywood Bowl. I promise I'll make it up to you next tour if you don't have it at the Hollywood Bowl, because I hate that venue.
Why?
Girl, have you been?
Yeah, I love that venue. Do you not take the shuttle?
What shuttle?
Oh, girl, you've been going to the bowl all wrong.
I only went once, and it was to go see Caliuchis, and my heels broke walking up all the way to our seats. I had a miserable time. We were 45 minutes late, too, because parking and traffic was so bad.
Okay. Side note here for Megan and our followers. If you are ever going to a show at the Hollywood Bowl, they have a Hollywood Bowl shuttle that has multiple stops around the Hollywood Bowl area. I get the one at the Lakewood Center Mall right in front of See's Candy. It's $10 round trip. It'll pick you up from See's Candy at the mall, drive you to the Hollywood Bowl right in front of the entrance. So all you have to do is just scan your ticket, walk up, and then walk up to your seats. And then you have 25 minutes to go from your seats to the shuttle, which is right in front of the venue. They tell you where to go and everything. They have everyone over there. It's so organized. And then they take you home.
Okay, good to know next time. Good to freaking know.
Yeah, because my first Hollywood Bowl concert was The Cure last year, and I didn't know about it. But my boyfriend was like, "Oh, we're taking the shuttle, right?" I was like, "No, babe, I thought you were driving." And he was like, "I'm not driving to the Hollywood Bowl." Like, and then that's when he showed me the shuttle.
Okay, good to know. I'll have to let my friends know about this one, because that's like the only reason why I didn't go and see him, because I just couldn't deal with the venue.
No, I love that venue so much. I just saw Mitski there.
Oh, how was it?
It was amazing. That was my second time seeing her this year. My boyfriend loves her so much.
Anywho.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Omar Apollo is just like a great example of someone who represents multiple communities as well, because yes, he's Mexican, but he's also a gay man. So he is this really great example of a person of color who is a part of the queer community that can be an idol and a role model for people of color who are in the closet.
That's right. I think more people of color who identify as queer should have role models like him to look up to. I also want to add that I think that this is just my personal opinion that I was actually just thinking about while we were writing the script. I know that we were saying that Hollywood doesn't give as much publicity, or I guess like platform to where people can share their cultural identity. And I feel that just as artists and as creatives, like, you have a lot more control over what goes into your music, what's on your cover, like music and songs and like all of that, it gives so much. You can personalize it way more than I feel like you ever could in Hollywood. My thing with Hollywood is that they may be active in trying to like uplift the Latinx community, but like
who's writing those scripts?
Who?
Not me, but I should be.
Who is writing those scripts? But also, like, we are in a social media digital age. Like, I wish that more celebrities would be a little bit more active on their socials and to like show their love and show their support for their community. Yeah.
Like, now that we talk about it, I don't see any actors that are like TikTokers. You know who is? Olivia Rodrigo. She's hilarious on TikTok. So is Lizzo.
Okay, but they're also artists.
And Lil Nas X.
That's so different though.
I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know any actors that are like that off the top of my head.
Exactly, neither do I.
I remember I used to follow, or I still do, follow Lizzo and Lil Nas X on Twitter and on TikTok because I think they're so funny, but I don't listen to their music.
I don't blame you. I don't either.
Y'all are funny though.
Anyway, so switching topics.
Another thing I want to touch on is the same people of color being cast over and over again in Hollywood. Unfortunately, it's not something I've only noticed in the Latino community, though.
No, it's definitely something that goes on with other minority groups as well. Like, Chinese representation, I feel, has been limited to 3 people. Awkwafina, Simu Liu, both are in the same movie together. Michelle Yeoh. And I swear she plays every middle-aged Asian woman in, like, all of these movies. Like, that's just her. Like, that is her character that she plays. And maybe she's just being, like, typecasted. But I just feel that, like, there are other individuals who are able to play these roles. But they're not given, like, the opportunity. So we see the same 3-4 actors, like, Asian actors playing Asian roles.
Yeah, and I understand, like, from what I've heard artists talk about, not specifically Michelle Yeoh, but other actors that have done interviews, they're like, well, I reach a certain age and now I'm just playing this character all the time.
Yeah.
And that's kind of sad. Like, that does not fall on them. That falls on producers, casting directors. That all falls on them. But the thing is, those people should pay more attention to what their audience wants.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
But unfortunately, like, if someone gets cast in something, chances are you're going to go see it.
Yeah.
That's the thing, and that's how they get you. So, like, when it comes to Latino actors in Hollywood, because, I mean, there's many, but I feel like they all come and go in phases. And right now, the phase that I'm seeing is Jenna Ortega, Pedro Pascal, and Oscar Isaac. Not to say that I don't love those people.
Yeah, also not to say that I don't also love those Asian actors, because I do. I love them down.
Yeah.
But
can we have more of them?
Yeah.
And can they play different people and different types of people? And can we tell their stories that aren't just like middle-aged mom?
Yeah, I get it.
Or like Pedro Pascal and Oscar Isaac, they just play dad all the time. All the time.
Yeah, they're always playing the same type of role. And like, even like Jenna Ortega, she plays this really intense, edgy female character, while Pedro and Oscar play dads all the time.
All the time. And most of the time, they're cast as like a different race than they actually are. And I do want to mention that Oscar Isaac is Cuban and Guatemalan. And he has said in the past that because of his name and how he looks, he has a really long name. I don't know what his full legal name is, but he minimized it to Oscar Isaac. And the way that he looks, he's always been cast as the racially ambiguous character.
I think you could categorize Jenna and Pedro as that too, based on how they're cast.
That's fair. Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you feel that there's enough Latino representation in Hollywood now, aside from the actors that we just talked about?
No, because it all comes back to like what stories are being told. Because just think of an example I always come to is Lady Bird by Greta Gerwig. I don't know what Greta Gerwig's writing process or thought process was when developing that film, but it is heavily similar, very similar to Real Women Have Curves, which is an early 2000s, late 90s movie starring America Ferrera.
Mm-hmm.
And that is about Hispanic women in Los Angeles a young woman who wants to go to school but is torn between going to school and staying with her family.
Mm-hmm.
Lady Bird tells the same story with a white girl, and it's very different in how that comes off, because when I watch it, she just comes off as a brat.
These are movies?
These are movies.
Which movie got more publicity?
Lady Bird. When it comes to Hispanic stories, like, it just has to be just like a regular everyday story.
All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning into the Escucha podcast this week. So glad that you were able to take time out of your busy schedules to listen to us yap.
Thank you so much, whether you're listening on the drive home or watching on YouTube over dinner. I know my friends do that. Shout out to you, Rachel.
Don't forget to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get notified every time we upload a new episode. All right, bye, guys.
Bye.